Assalamu alaikum and welcome to About Islam. I'm your host, Layla Poulos, and I'm very happy to have the two guests that I have today because they have some wonderful things going on. Muslim women are becoming more and more involved in business and entrepreneurship. I mean, it's like really booming and blasting. I, for one, am one of them. Okay. And so I'm so happy to have Halima de la Vera and Amber Van Grat, who have this wonderful event for Muslim women to network with each other. The Boss Hijabi break shattering the glass ceiling, right?
Yes.
It's a digital seminar, which is wonderful for someone like me, where we get together and we get to talk about the issues that specifically address Muslim women in entrepreneurship. Assalamu alaikum, Halima and Amber.
Wa alaikum salam.
Okay, you
Jazakallah khair
guys
for
always
having
look
us.
fabulous. I'm the basic Jersey
I bet.
hijabi. That's how I do. That's how I shine.
Stop it. Stop it.
And it's
Listen, we just
every
love the pops of color. That's all.
I'm sorry.
We just love papping with color. That's
You
all.
like you always popping with the color. You always coming out. Y'all always coming out with like, and it is like it kind of encourages me to up my game, but not enough to actually do it. So
You look beautiful, mashallah. Jazakallah khair.
thank you very much. It's like this is how I get my work done. This is how Layla gets her work done.
I know that's right.
Inshallah. So the digital seminar conference, it's a whole conference. Boss Hijabi. Amber, what is a boss hijabi?
Yeah, so a Boss Hijabi is somebody who is unapologetically Muslim. We fully embrace our beliefs in Islam, our Iman, and our Ihsan. And what we do is we have four foundations to being a Boss Hijabi. And those four things are faith, of course, first and foremost, family, finances, and fitness. So we truly believe that a Boss Hijabi can have all of those things and really be that in their life.
Okay, you know I'm on for that. Okay, because with COVID, I've been trying to take care of myself more. And fitness has been a real a thing that I've been going through a lot. And you can't it becomes very difficult
Mhm.
to center that when you are the one in charge, right, Halima?
Absolutely. So we took two components. So Amber Von Grat, her degree, so I'm sorry for speaking for you, Amber, but just to tee it up, her degree is in, to do with fitness, right? And, that's her area. And she deals with not only the physical side of fitness, but also the spiritual side. So we tap into the wellness piece as well. And so I'm glad that you talked about, COVID-19, because that's actually how this all started. So we plan to do a conference together, but in person, actually this month. So we were going to do a conference right here in New York City, the W Hotel right here downtown. Yeah, girl, we were looking to do it big. You know what I mean? But alhamdulillah, things went the way that it went, and so we took an in-person conference and we made it into a virtual conference. Oh, it's still all right. We're still going to inshallah get the message across, but the fitness piece came with bringing Amber on. So we were already talking about faith, family, and finances. But when Amber came on, we were able to put on that fitness and talking about the physical, but also that spiritual and, just keeping our minds, well, no matter what's going on. And it just truly just fit into what we were already doing, mashallah.
Well, I think that's a great addition because as someone who has actually who has ignored her fitness for a long time and knows the ramification of really focusing a lot on trying to get things going, trying to keep things running and everything like that. If you don't have that aspect of it, you it's a physical detriment. It's also an emotional detriment and it's a spiritual detriment because you cannot worship the way that you want to.
That is so real. And I love the way that you put that, just like, not taking care of your full self, because that's why we're having this conference too.
And I think as Muslim women, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think that a lot of times we are not encouraged enough to think about ourselves. and not only our spiritual well-being, okay, but also our physical and our emotional well-being. It has to take work to be a boss hijabi,
It does.
okay, right, Amber?
Yeah, it really does. It's because it's that holistic approach, right? It's the mental, the emotional, the physical, the spiritual. And the thing is we really want people to start taking steps into understanding how can we do that? How can we apply what we teach in the Boss Hijabi Society to everyday life?
So that is a whole society of Boss
Absolutely.
Hijabi. And the seminar is one aspect. What is the main objective of the seminar? Now, the theme is Shattering the Glass Ceiling. What
Mhm.
is the main objective of this seminar? And that made it so important that we couldn't do a physical one, we had to do a digital one. So, what is it that we're trying to get to each other? You guys are trying to get to us
Mhm.
through this seminar.
Just probably something that I both of us champion, separately. And when we met this year in January, so I spoke at an event that Amber hosted. She had multiple speakers come, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to take the trek from New York to Canada, and me, yeah, girl, we
You're
listen,
in
we got on
Canada?
some planes. Yes, honey, we got on some planes to get to Amber, mashallah,
Woo!
and just
In
just
January, you went to Canada.
girl, let me tell you
In
something,
January.
sis. Okay, so Layla and I are from New York. Okay, so let's just tee this up. We always have to end up telling this story, Amber. Okay, listen, it then had the nerve, the audacity, okay, this community of women, okay, Muslim women in Canada had the audacity to take me to Banff Mountain, which so you exactly, you get it. I didn't even tell you how high it was, anything, okay? Like, listen, the coldest, probably the coldest place on earth. I really believe this mountain is the coldest place on earth. That's number one. The highest mountain peaks I have ever seen in my entire life. Okay. And this is where they take me. And then, I get on a gondola, New York girl on a gondola. Who knew? And, when I saw it, from the beginning, it was just like, okay, I could do that. Right. It has some height to it, but, mashallah, that gondola didn't end. It was like a 20-minute ride. Just imagine a 20-minute ride. And each time it's
No,
going, it's just
no.
going higher and higher.
Layla's afraid of heights. Then they're going
You
on
and
a
me
gondola.
both, girl. Like, don't
Not
don't
going
let
on a
it fool you.
gondola. I'd be like, I love you. I'm staying on the ground.
Listen, this
Listen,
That ain't happening.
listening,
That's some
okay?
dedication right there, sis.
Listen,
That's some dedication right there. So you met in at Amber's event,
yes,
and you do what Muslim women do best a lot of times. Oh,
yes.
we gotta do something.
Absolutely. So we connected, we got together, and we said that we were going to have this amazing event. We planned it way back in January. So we planned this way back in January. And, once the pandemic happened, we were like, you know what? These women need us now. And so we started working towards actually this event. So really speaking to that faith, that family, and then covering the fitness aspect. And then the finance piece came last, which is what we're having right now, which is the Boss Hijabis in Business Conference, and just really empowering women that they can do more, and especially those that have the desire to do more. And it could be, something as, writing a book, right? So writing a book, that's entrepreneurship. I think people think that, there's nothing, salesy or, entrepreneur like about authorship. And I think that is one of the biggest tests of entrepreneurship. If you can handle writing a book, successfully marketing a book, and selling that bad baby, there's no limit to what you can do. You can literally create an entire business around a book. And a lot of the women that I coach, Amber, she'll attest to this too. We actually encourage them to write a book, and then they can use that as the platform to leap. A book is the new business card, as we say. So strongly believe in that. But really, the Boss Hijabis and Business Conference that we're hosting this weekend, November 13th, 14th, and 15th, is really to help women to thrive. Right. So, and especially Muslim women, women of faith, like to thrive in, whatever industry they decide to go into, inshallah. So we're
Well, I
excited.
think with the COVID, there's been a lot of shifts in the way that you do business, right? A person has to do business. There's been a lot of shifts. I know I've experienced a huge amount of shift as not only as an author, but as a freelance writer, as a writing coach. And so we kind of need this right now because there's so much change. that's happened so quickly. Is the game changing for everyone because of the all of these transitions that are being made because of COVID?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of people are being asked to pivot in whatever area that they are in. Specifically for me, the women that I coach are in e-commerce, so that means that they have online sales, and so they have to get really creative about the way they come to market now. So many Muslim women, I'll just use Muslim women as an example. We traditionally use fairs, so we traditionally use
Mm.
those events, vending events to be able to market our product. And a bulk of our business, most women would say 75 to 90% of their business comes from these in-person events. Now with COVID-19, those events are gone, right? You may be able to go to maybe one event, and that event is capped at 50 people. One particular vendor, how many people are you going to get out of that 50 that is your target demographic to be able to purchase from you? It's going to become thinner. And so how do you go to market in this type of environment? And the key is virtual. So front facing your target audience as much as possible, doing a virtual conference like what we're doing. We gave the opportunity for other Muslim businesses to come on and actually market their product on a virtual conference, and then doing some interviews prior to that, to where they can talk about their products, their services that they have. And so just getting real creative about the way that we come to market, inshallah.
Okay,
And I
so
think,
now you have to think more about e-commerce.
Yeah, online, period. Like literally 99% of what your focus should be, and not only just within the pandemic, post pandemic, you should be thinking online sales, e-commerce, period.
Now, with that though, a lot of times with e-commerce, there comes a shift in branding. So you don't have the opportunity, like you said, there's not as much opportunity for face-to-face connections, okay, with your customer base, your client base, your reader base. So now it becomes more and more about branding and having to make a shift into branding. And how does that look? Okay, is that something that's going to be covered in the seminar? Ah, yay, because that would be for that one. I got to be on that one right there. And so even like as far as fitness, I know that one of the things, Amber, that I've seen, like first of all, there's the what is it, the COVID-15? Like a lot of people have gained weight because of quarantine, and some people have made a shift into focusing more on their health because of quarantine. But fitness has changed, right? With the closing of the gyms. And even like I know here in New York, they've opened them, but it's just like, everyone has to be 6 feet apart. Everyone has to wear masks. So they cannot accommodate as many clients as they used to accommodate. So a lot of people are turning to home fitness. Now, if you're a mom with a bunch of kids, because you heard them already, right? You heard the kids already, right? I tried to gloss over it, but I gotta own it because she came in with the cookies. Like, look what I made. I'm like, no, not right now. So that fitness is taking on something different. So it may be a challenge to engage in it if you never have, or to make that shift, Amber.
yeah, it's a lot of it's going virtual. A lot of people are training virtual. And what's nice about that is it's actually giving people a leeway, like a segue back into the facilities and starting up and getting that confidence back. The
Mm.
gym can be a very intimidating place, as a woman, as a Muslim woman, as a covered Muslim woman, whether you go to an all-female gym or a co-ed gym, it doesn't really matter. Right now is an opportunity for you to learn how, not only can you make your home a space for health and wellness, in regards to physical activity for you and your children and your family. You can get creative and go outside now with COVID. And so getting back into, if you did used to go to the facility, maybe you did put on a couple extra pounds, but how can you get in there and be confident again? And one thing that people are also looking at with COVID right now is they're reflecting inward on a lot of what they're going through and what their why is. And when we talk about fitness in general, what are you actually hungry for? are you are you hungry for purpose? So I think that's really the beauty right now in regards to health and wellness is we're allowing that space to reflect and that time away from other people and back into our homes, which should be the first reflection of our lifestyle and our purpose.
Well, I used to be a gym goer, and since they closed down in COVID, they opened it back up, and I'm just like, I don't know, I got my weights now, so I'm going back. Now, the glass ceiling. Okay, shattering the glass ceiling. Now, when I see that, I automatically think of the disparity between based on gender in corporate America. Is there more than one glass ceiling for Muslim women?
Yes, there is. So we actually have some additional uh, glass that we got to break through. Our glass is a little bit thicker than maybe some of our counterparts, because of course we go first into the gender. So that's just the males earning more money despite women having more education, right? So we run into that, right? A woman may have a master's or a doctorate and still may not apply for a particular role because she's missing one of the things, going into that role. A woman may not start a business because she feels that because she's a Muslim or because she's a woman, she won't be taken seriously. And so then you add on to that the fact that she may be a woman of color as well. So she may come from a minority group. So it's race as well. So gender and race, those are the two top components that people look at. And so, because she comes from a specific background, she is not paid, or she is often overlooked for a particular, position, or, within a particular industry, right? So not taken seriously in a particular industry. Then you add on to it, the faith piece of it, right? So we can, first dissect it into, a Muslim woman, right? So a Muslim woman, when she goes into work, she may, ask for certain things like, accommodations for prayer, or accommodations for, a day off when it's, a holiday, Eid, etc. Right? But then there's an additional layer, and the one that we handle, which is we are, bigging up the Boss Hijabi, right? So we're bigging up the person who is a front-facing Muslim, to where we are wearing our, faith on our head, right? And in some cases, our dress, follows, that those guidelines of modesty as well. And so you add that on, and just imagine walking into a boardroom, and the person in charge looks like me or looks like you, right? How serious is she taken? And so part of what we're doing, and part of one of the things that I work to do, on my platform, is to showcase that that's quite all right. You're gonna learn today, right? You're going to learn today that what I have on my head is not indicative of what's inside of my head. That's it doesn't end there, right? And also that me coming to work and showing up as my full authentic self as a Muslim woman does not detract from my abilities, and also shouldn't put you on guard either, because I think a lot of people are on guard, like, oh, wait a minute, she's going to start to try to influence my beliefs. She's coming to work, and she's handing out Qurans, right? And that's the furthest thing from the truth. So those are the glass ceilings that we're talking about. Then one more is the one that we have within our own community, and how we as women are seen. So those of us that do go to a corporate job, or those of us that do put ourselves out there, in the entrepreneurship arena, or the work, just in the as a career woman, right? How in our own community we are seen as like this, like thing, like who do you think you are? Right? So we have to shatter that, shatter those stereotypes, shatter that glass ceiling as well, inshallah. So those are the glass ceilings that we are working to shatter with this particular event. Just the typical places that you find us, the typical roles that you find us, like, get that out of here. And one of our topics on day 2 is actually atypical roles, and we'll be talking about that. What type of roles should Muslim women be in?
Mm, I think that there's also another layer,
Mhm.
and that is where these two worlds meet,
Yes.
inside and outside of the community. When an obvious Muslim woman,
Mhm.
okay, covered,
Mhm.
enters the corporate arena and she encounters other Muslims,
Mhm.
okay, there may be issues. They may embrace certain allergies that may exist in the business world to obviously covered Muslim women, and not even just the business world, nonprofits. It's the same way.
Yeah.
And they may also engender certain biases that exist within the Muslim community when it comes to Muslim women that
Mhm.
cover that somehow they're not supposed to be, like you said, front facing,
Mhm.
that they're only supposed to be doing certain types of things,
Mhm.
that they're not really welcome in most spaces. They should be more modest. They should be more quiet. They shouldn't really be movers and shakers. So I think there's another layer that we kind of have to always kind of forge through in order to get done what it is we need to get done.
Mhm.
And so I think that having something like this is very important because yeah, there's a lot of business seminars and everything, but how many of them address these aspects,
They don't.
of what it is to be in business, be front facing like you said, be an entrepreneur, be the boss. Okay? I mean, I've had to be the boss to Muslims and Muslim men. And it's sometimes it's a big challenge for some of them to really kind of see you covered and see you talking and be like, listen, we're gonna do this and this and this and that and that and that and that,
Mhm.
like that. And they really have have to purge a lot of the biases when it
Mhm.
comes to when you present yourself like this.
Mhm.
When I'm trying to take care of business, I'm
Mhm.
trying to please my Lord, and I'm trying to take care of business. Now let's get to work, type of thing.
Absolutely.
So they're shocked, like, how dare you?
Or if you slide an invoice across the table.
Oh yeah.
For me, BUNHD, listen, sis, BUNHD, I'm helping businesses, and I've had Muslim men approach me, hey sis, would love for you to come in and take a look at my organization or take a look at my business and kind of tell me what I'm doing wrong. Would love to meet you over a cup of coffee. I'm going to tell you two things. The first one is I'm not meeting you over a cup of coffee, brother. I'm going to meet you the same way that I meet the women that I front face, which is through a virtual conversation. Right. So I'm not meeting you for coffee. Let's get that out the way. And then the second piece of it is this is my consultation fee, and I do these for an hour, and this is the price. Here's the link for you to pay the invoice. I've never heard from those brothers again.
Mm.
It's because they thought that coffee, okay, was they were gonna get
That
all.
was gonna be payment.
I'm about, like me, I'm about to make you hundreds and thousands of dollars with the information that I am giving you. That is worth my consultation fee, and it is also worth my monthly fee or whatever the fee is, based on the relationship that we decide to go forth with, right? You it's not, and not only that, I drink high-end coffee as well. So I mean, you might as well pay the consultation fee because just,
But don't Muslim women period tend to undervalue themselves, and and we do have to fight kind of this uphill battle where people expect us to settle for less than, if we have come to appreciate what we're worth, people expect us to settle for less than that. And so that's also just something that we really have to tackle and deal with. And it's based not only on gender, it's based on race too. Okay, people undervalue the work of Black women despite how it moves and shakes all levels of society, and they undervalue Muslim women. So it's like you always have to fight this uphill battle, but we're doing it, right? Aren't Muslim women in the hustle? Are we in the hustle, Halima?
yes, we are. Absolutely. We're in the thick of it. And we're about, achieving our goals. We're setting these goals, we're setting the bar high, and we are, meeting it, and then we're setting the bar higher. Each time we get a ring in our belt or a rung on our belt, we're setting the bar even higher, inshallah.
Do we see each other?
Mm.
Do we see each other? Do we look? for each other in these spaces? And when we find each other, do we appreciate each other, or do we end up doing the same thing that everyone else does to us, to each other?
That's a good question. I think it happens in any single community, any single space where there's multiple people. I think what we need to do as Muslim women is we need to stick to the Sunnah and look to our faith
Mm,
and look how we should be behaving, how we should be treating ourselves, our
mhm.
relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and our sisters, our brothers and sisters in our communities. So it's really about, finding our own light and our own beliefs within our heart and having that with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then how do we allow that to shine in every space that we show up for?
How do we really need to come together to do that?
We do.
Absolutely.
We are as strong as our weakest links. We are as effective as the diversity that's within our community. And the more diverse we make our group, or we make a community, so like the Boss Hijabi Society, the more diverse we make it, the more impactful we will be. Everyone's voices will be heard. That's number one. And two, we will also understand what's happening, what's going on out
Mhm.
there, and how can we, come together and address each particular area and work to cure it, and work to fix those particular areas. Because depending on the demographic, something that's happening over here may not be happening to this particular demographic. But as a whole, Muslim society and society as a whole, it's important for equity. It's important for all of us, to be on an equal playing field, inshallah.
What are the three biggest challenges that Muslim women, boss hijabis, may face as they open a business, as if they're making a transition in their business? What are three challenges that they may face, and how can they address them?
One of the so for our panels, for example, on at the conference, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about, is overcoming those limitations. So three of those examples, the first one being developing a money and marketing mindset. So how do we establish that relationship with money and marketing? The second one is being a mom, being a wife, mom, and a boss. How do we find that balance? How do we, wear all the hats at the same time? And how do we maneuver through that? And then the third one is the atypical roles. So overcoming judgment from other people in our industry and knowing, how comfortable are we with what we're doing and our why.
Yeah, what I would add to that is aligning ourselves. So I think that the most difficult thing for me, and Amber and I have had this conversation several times, is one of the things that's extremely difficult for us is to align our faith with what it is we're working to pursue, and putting our faith first, and then kind of, going out from that. So a lot of times what we do as people is, oh, I'm going to apply for this such and such a job. And then, like we find out there's something that goes against our faith that's in that job, and then we're like, oh man, every single day we're feeling that guilt, showing up to this job, and it's totally against my faith, it's totally against my beliefs. And so how do we sit down, stop? And I think COVID-19 has given us that perfect opportunity to say to ourselves, this is what I really want. And so, that thing that you really want, is it in alignment with your faith? Is it in alignment with Islam? And then using that as the foundation, and then leaping, from there. The other thing, it speaks to what Amber just said, which is why we have the marketing and money mindset. So one of the things that pet peeve of mine, but it happens every single client that I get that gets on a phone call with me, every single one, is I don't want to make all of this money. First thing out of their mouth is I'm I don't want to make a lot of money, stock for the law, making all this money, right? And one of the things that we need to think about is we need to look at our prophet, our beloved prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and his very first wife Khadija radiallahu anha. Their relationship came out of her actually making buku money, right? And I'm one to believe that if she were alive right now during our time, she would be a billionaire. And the fact fact that, she would be a billionaire at this time, would we say to her, oh, astaghfirullah, but she's using her money to fund the advent of Islam? So changing the way that we think about money. So yes, anything can be evil, not just money. Anything that we do in excess can be evil, or can be, to our detriment. So how can we utilize money? So one of the topics that we're addressing is actually on day 3, where we're having our sponsor, so our event sponsor, Penny Bill Canada, they are going to be talking about how to use your business to fund your akhirah. So how do female entrepreneurs use their business to fund their akhirah? That's one of our biggest, points in having, people, or women especially, come over to the side of entrepreneurship, even if she's not a full-time entrepreneur. So that's another, myth that we want to dispel as well, is that you have to go into full-time entrepreneurship in order to be successful. Girl, you better hold on to that 9 to 5 and that good insurance if you need to, and, have your business on the side until it can, overtake it, or maybe it stays that, side hustle. We don't know that. That's all based on you. But understanding that the blueprint was given to us by 2 of our beloveds, which is, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Khadija radiallahu anha. She gave us the blueprint, number 1, to go after, business. And so if she were alive today, she would be on our mompreneur panel, because she embodied, just the beauty of what it was to be a wife. She took her role as a mother seriously, but she was totally about keeping them coins, flowing in.
She was the boss.
Listen, she employed the Prophet.
Exactly, she was the boss.
We need a few snaps for that. Okay?
And it funded, and the thing, like you said, it funded the advent of Islam. Many times we have, it becomes important to people who have the purses. Movements cannot move without funding, period. So this idea that I don't want to make a lot of money because it's going to be a detriment to my akhirah, unless you know for sure that you just going to go buck wild when you got a buck. Why? Where do we get this mindset? It's not from from our tradition. It's not from the prophetic tradition. Prophet Suleiman was rich, 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 and so he managed to balance those things. And so that's why I love that whole idea of how to fund your akhirah with the money that you make. So just thinking about that. So it's a divergence from this whole, like, one of the biggest issues in our society is capitalism, with a capital C, and rampant. When it's rampant and there's nothing to rein it in. As Muslims, if we observe our deen, and if we have some consciousness of the fact that we have to face Allah with the stuff that we do, it could encourage us not to rein in a lot of the stuff that like usually in capitalistic societies like ours, don't get reined in. So it's like that whole Wall Street, Gordon Gekko, greed is good type of thing. It's very much a model of our capitalist system. And so having Muslims come in and make those touch points, having people of faith come in and make those touch points, because the seminar is not just for Muslims, right? It centers Muslim women, but non-Muslim women can benefit from it as well, because it is a matter of that balance of all of those things.
Yeah.
Okay. And faith and spirituality are very important to a lot of people. And just because you're in business, it doesn't mean that it's kind of like that's gone totally. For a lot of people, it's something that's in their minds, in the back of their minds, as they're interacting and as they're doing business. And so having a platform that appreciates that and shed a lens on that, I think is really, really important. So I'm so glad that you guys are doing this. And I can't wait, because I'm usually stuck. Like you said, conferences and stuff. I rarely get to go to conferences. I used to rarely get to conferences. COVID made it worse. It just made it worse. But I really, really did get to go to conferences. And so what are the dates for the seminar?
November 15th, 14th, and 15th.
13th, 14th, and 15th. 3 days.
Yes.
3 days of awesomeness.
That's important.
It is very important.
One day is not enough.
Why is one day not enough, sister?
Because we would be cramming this information in, and it speaks to exactly what you just said. I would say 95% of the women that we have encountered throughout this year for every conference, every retreat that we've held virtually, is, I'm so glad you're doing this virtually because I cannot leave my house, or I cannot remember the last time. We had women say, I don't remember the last time I was at the masjid for Ramadan, because we did a Ramadan event. I don't remember the last time that I was with other sisters and I was able to even speak up. So that's another thing. These, conferences offer you the opportunity, a place of non-judgment. We are very non-judgmental. It's very open, and for you to just be yourself, come as yourself, and speak up. You never know who you are going to help by you sharing your story or asking your particular question. So,
Are there any tickets left?
yes, there are. We have a few. We
Okay.
have a few.
Because I know your events tend to fill up really quickly. So the fact that it's a few is like, alhamdulillah, there's a few. So the Boss Hijabi seminar, Shattering the Glass Ceiling. Where can I get tickets?
You can get them online at www.bossajabisociety.com.
Thank you so much for joining me, Halima and Amber. I can't wait to get with you and all the other Boss Hijabis on this conference. We're going to do this, right? We're
We're gonna
going to
do
do
it.
this.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna have a blast, inshallah.
Thank you for joining us on About Islam. Remember to click that subscribe button, leave a comment to Halima and Amber, ask them a question, and ring that bell so that you can get notifications for the next time I get to interview a fabulous Muslim. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Jazakallah khair.